India with economic sanctions. All right, that is how India-US relations were until 2001. But 2001 was a turning point because of the 9/11 attacks. As Al Qaeda carried out the 9/11 attacks, the US declared a global war on terrorism. The US invaded Afghanistan. It couldn't rely entirely on Pakistan. It didn't trust Pakistan entirely. So US needed a new partner, a reliable partner to counter terrorism. That was India. So from 2001, a new era opened in India-US relations. The collaboration began with focus on Afghanistan and Pakistan to counter terrorism. This is where the close India-US relations began. The focus was intelligence sharing, cooperation between our intelligence agencies, where Indian agencies could help American agencies to counter terrorism in the Afghanistan-Pakistan belt. It was a common concern. India was deeply concerned about the terror groups in Afghanistan, Pakistan. Now that US finally had the same objective, it brought India-US together. And don't forget, by this time, India had become the fastest growing economy. India's economic growth also had a role to play in changing the American approach towards India. India being the world's largest democracy and an open market and open society, obviously pushed US to repair its relations with India. All right, it's not that US had a change of mind overnight. US also saw some interest in India because India is a massive market for American companies. India had liberalized its economy, opened up for foreign investments. We had globalized our economy. US knew, right, it would stand to gain by working with India. That is why close strategic economic relations began, starting from 2001. In fact, the relations became so strong in the security domain that in 2003, when US invaded Iraq, then US President George Bush had called upon India to deploy troops to assist the US in Iraq and Afghanistan. George Bush had made this request to Prime Minister Vajpayee when US invaded Afghanistan and was fighting terrorism. Later, when they invaded Iraq to topple Saddam Hussein, right, they asked India to help, India to join their forces and to deploy Indian troops on the ground. But thankfully, under the leadership of Prime Minister Vajpayee, India took the right decision. Prime Minister Vajpayee put his foot down, made it clear that India will never deploy troops on foreign soil involving these foreign conflicts. This is not our conflict. At least in Afghanistan, we have some interest. That is something we can do overtly to our intelligence agencies. We need not deploy soldiers on the ground. That would be disastrous. If you get involved in such foreign conflicts, it will drag forever, right? We will pay the heavier price. At least Afghanistan makes some sense as far as counterterrorism is concerned. But Iraq is not our concern, right? This was their priority. First of all, it was a fraudulent war that US and UK fought against Iraq. Based on false intelligence, they invaded Iraq. They said Saddam Hussein was building WMDs, weapons of mass destruction. But after toppling the government, they never found even one single piece of evidence to show that Iraq was building WMDs. It was an illegitimate war that US and UK had fought. India saw through this. India said, we will not support you in Iraq. Only with Afghanistan and Pakistan will help you in counterterrorism. Only our intelligence agencies will work together, but no troops on the ground. We are not deploying our army on the ground, right? But still, this was enough to bring the two closer and build a strategic relationship. And in 2004, they elevated the relations to the strategic level by signing the NSSP, Next Steps in Strategic Partnership. This marked the beginning of a new phase of India-US relations. Under the NSSP agreement, they diversified their relations. They didn't limit this to defense, security, and intelligence cooperation. They widened the scope of India-US relations by identifying the 5 pillars of this strategic partnership. First pillar, of course, was strategic issues, military cooperation, intelligence cooperation, counterterrorism, and defense collaboration. This, of course, remained a priority, one of the key pillars of the strategic partnership. Other than that, they started focusing on energy security and climate change. All right? Science and technology collaboration in the field of research and development, sharing technology with each other. Key areas like health, education, development, and innovation. They became a priority in the India-US relations. Every year, thousands of Indian students apply to American universities and study in the US. There's a very strong Indian community, Indian diaspora in the US. Any idea, any guess what's the strength of the Indian community in the US? Does anyone know? Do you guys know what's the strength of the Indian diaspora in the US? 5 million. Not so high. 1 million, 4 million. 10 million. 10 million is too much. Our diaspora is around 3 million plus. Somewhere between 3 to 3.5 million. This is the strength of the Indian community, which is still very significant. Right? It's one of the most influential diaspora communities in the US. Indian diaspora contributes immensely to the US economy, right? Especially in the tech sector, the technology sector, also in other sectors. Indian community has been playing a critical role, especially second, third generation Indians. They're even part of American politics, they're part of US government. So India has a lot of cultural influence in that regard. So cultural relations, people to people relations also became a priority. All right? So the relationship which started in 2001, which was focused only on defense, security, and counterterrorism, was diversified under NSSP. It was an agreement signed between India and US, elevating our relations to strategic partnership level. We diversified the areas of cooperation, and 5 key pillars of cooperation were identified. All right? US started helping India in clean energy, like solar, wind, nuclear, etc. We started working together in the field of tackling climate change, securing energy supplies, sharing technology, helping each other in education, healthcare, innovation, and development. So these areas became the focus. And this led to the biggest development, the landmark development in 2005, when India-US civil nuclear agreement was signed. Please note this down. This is the single most and the biggest development in India-US relations. It is seen as the biggest success of the then Manmohan Singh government, as Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had to put his government at stake. The government itself could have fallen because of this nuclear agreement, because there was strong opposition in India against signing the nuclear deal with US, especially from the left parties, which always doubted American intentions since the Cold War days. They opposed the deal and they threatened to quit the coalition government. The support of left parties was critical for the Manmohan Singh government to remain in power. They threatened to quit, pull out the support, leading to the collapse of the government if India went ahead with the agreement. It even led to a no confidence motion against the Prime Minister's government, against Manmohan Singh government. Right? At the last minute, the government managed to scrape through. It managed to protect the stability of the government and went on to finalize and sign this important nuclear agreement with the US. It's also called 123 agreement. That's the other name for it. All right. Now, why is this relevant? Why is this so important? Why am I stressing on this? It's because a country which has always targeted our nuclear weapons program, a country which has even targeted our civilian nuclear program, was finally giving recognition to India's nuclear program. See, US has tried to derail India's nuclear path. Since it targeted the weapons program, it had an impact on our civilian program as well. But finally, the US recognized that India is a responsible nuclear power. It was a recognition of our clean track record as far as nuclear energy and nuclear research was concerned. From India, there's never been a case of nuclear proliferation, right? There's never been any major nuclear accidents. And nuclear material and technology has been very safely secured and kept. It has never leaked or proliferated into the wrong hands. We haven't leaked the technology and material to rogue countries. We haven't leaked it to terror groups or any other criminal groups like Pakistan had done. This is where the difference comes up between India and Pakistan's nuclear program. Pakistan has behaved like a rogue state as far as its nuclear program is concerned. Pakistan is the center of nuclear proliferation, the leakage of nuclear technology and material. Whatever support it got from China, it readily leaked, sold the technology and material to other rogue countries, including Iran, North Korea, and Libya. Some of you might have heard about A.Q. Khan, who's considered as the father of Pakistan's nuclear program. Just like Homi Baba Abdul Kalam, right, who was seen as the lead figures of our nuclear program and missile program, A.Q. Khan in Pakistan was considered as the father of Pakistan's nuclear bomb. This guy, the same scientist, he was running a black market. He was involved with a cartel, with an organized criminal cartel, smuggling nuclear secrets and material, selling it off in the black market to other countries like Iran, North Korea, and Libya, with links with extremist outfits. That is the extent of irresponsibility Pakistan has shown with sensitive technologies like nuclear technology. So this clearly distinguishes the programs of India and Pakistan, and the US finally saw through this. It finally saw that India is a responsible country, and moreover, this was not a good intention from US. It was a vested interest. They saw a commercial angle here. It's not that US became good overnight. Americans are always driven by their self-interest. They saw that India is a massive market for nuclear reactors. In India's energy security plans, we have given a lot of allocation for nuclear energy. We plan to set up many nuclear reactors in the coming decades. So US saw these long-term plans of India. It realized American companies can keep selling nuclear reactors and material to India, making massive profits. That commercial motivation also played a big role. But this eventually brought US closer to India, and it gave recognition to India's nuclear program. It signed a civil nuclear deal to assist India in civil nuclear cooperation. That is to sell nuclear reactors, to assist India in securing nuclear fuel. American companies like General Electric or GE, Westinghouse, these are major American companies in the nuclear sector. The proposal was for them to invest in India, to sell nuclear reactors to India and set up the nuclear plants in India. The sites also have been allocated for these American projects. All right. So to realize this dream, US signed the nuclear deal and gave recognition to India's nuclear program. Now this agreement has even more significance. I'll explain. This agreement led the US to grant India an NSG exemption from signing the Non-Proliferation Treaty. This is where you need a little bit of background. Let me explain the Non-Proliferation Treaty briefly and talk about export control regimes such as Nuclear Suppliers Group. See, NPT was brought out in 1967 as a direct response to India's nuclear weapons program. By then, the P5 countries had tested their nuclear weapons. US, China, Russia, the Soviet Union, UK, and France. They had tested and procured nuclear weapons by then. And as India was accelerating its weapons program, they tried to target this, not just India, but a few other countries as well. So to prevent the further spread of nuclear weapons, the Non-Proliferation Treaty was conceptualized by the P5 countries. Every other country should give up any future plans of developing nuclear weapons. If they've already started, they have to shut it down immediately. These are the terms of NPT. In return, the P5 and IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, they will supply civilian nuclear technology. Is that clear? This is what NPT mandates. Apart from P5 countries, everyone else have to shut down their nuclear program. They have to give a commitment that they'll never pursue nuclear weapons, and in return, they'll get some assistance in civilian nuclear technology. Now, this treaty is discriminating in the face of it. P5 countries can have nuclear weapons. US, which was hostile to India, can have nuclear weapons. China, which is our neighbor, which has fought a war with India or a border dispute, can have nuclear weapons, but India cannot. That is why India ruled out joining NPT. It's a permanent boycott from India. India said, we will never sign NPT, do whatever you want. India said it's a strategic need, we will develop nuclear weapons, no matter what the consequences. Pakistan took a similar stand. As India would develop nuclear weapons, Pakistan felt the same need. Pakistan also boycotted NPT, and both countries, they swore, we will never sign NPT. The other countries which have not signed NPT are Israel, for the same reason. Israel also wants to retain the nuclear option, develop the weapons when needed. It's widely believed Israel has the technology for building a nuclear weapon. Another country which has never signed is South Sudan. But South Sudan is different. It's a new country. It's recently formed, and it's going through a civil war. You don't have a proper stable government. That's why South Sudan hasn't signed NPT. Then there's another special country, North Korea. North Korea had signed, but later quit. It's the only country to have quit NPT. All right? To pursue its nuclear weapons against Japan, South Korea, and US. North Korea quit NPT. It's the only country which has signed and later quit. Others who have never signed it are India, Pakistan, Israel, and South Sudan. So please remember these 5 countries. India, Israel, Pakistan. We haven't signed it because we want to keep the nuclear option. South Sudan has never signed it because there's no proper government. North Korea has signed it, but later it has quit to develop the nuclear weapons. Now, to restrict the further spread of nuclear material, nuclear technology, there is an export control regime called NSG, Nuclear Suppliers Group. Similarly, there are 3 other important export control regimes that deal with sensitive technologies. There are certain sensitive technologies which can be used to build WMDs, or weapons of mass destruction, like a nuclear bomb or a chemical bomb, biological bomb, etc. Such sensitive technologies are restricted for international trade through these export control regimes. For nuclear technology, it is NSG, the Nuclear Suppliers Group, which is a grouping of 48 countries. Now, the condition to join NSG, you have to sign NPT. This is a precondition. Only those who have signed NPT, who have given up nuclear weapons forever, only they can apply for NSG membership. Only P5 countries will be allowed to have nuclear weapons. Other than that, if you want NSG membership, you have to sign NPT. It's a mandatory condition. Most countries have agreed to it because they have no nuclear ambitions. Like Japan, for example. South Africa had a nuclear program and shut it down. It wanted to join NPT. New Zealand, all right, Brazil. All these countries have given up nuclear weapons voluntarily. They have said we'll never develop nuclear weapons. In fact, all these regions I'm mentioning, they have nuclear weapon-free zones. In Africa, there's a nuclear weapon-free zone. In Southeast Asia, in South America, in the Pacific, there are nuclear weapon-free zones. These countries have committed. They will never ever develop and procure nuclear weapons. So they have willingly signed the treaty and they have become members of NSG. Now, only members can trade in nuclear material and only they can draw the benefits of the civilian aspect of nuclear energy. But India, which has boycotted NPT, which has even faced sanctions for the weapons program, can never become a member of NSG. Why? Because we have said we'll not sign NPT. Without signing NPT, you can't join NSG. That is the equation here. But what did US do? the US said, we will give India an exemption. We trust India. We believe India's nuclear program is safe. It's a very mature, responsible program. India has never been responsible for any nuclear proliferation or leakage like Pakistan. So US recognized this and promised India to get a membership in NSG. Because India's dream is to join this group. By joining NSG, we can easily procure nuclear technology, uranium, nuclear material from other countries. They're ready to export, but they can't do it freely because of India not being a member of NSG. So US said, we will give you the exemption. We will influence other members to help India join NSG. The US also said, we will help you join 3 other export control regimes, which are important for critical technologies. Because before this, US had not only placed economic sanctions on India, it had even placed technological sanctions on India. In 1990s, when we tested the nuclear weapons, US and the Western countries, they not only targeted India with economic sanctions, but technological sanctions as well. It meant our companies, our institutions, like let's say Indian Institute of Science, ISRO, DRDO, they cannot procure readily available technologies in the international market, and this crippled our advancement in science and technology. Even if someone is ready to sell, we can't go and buy that because we are under technological sanctions. So now that the relations were transforming, the US said, we recognize your nuclear program, we will get you an exemption. Sanctions were lifted on India, economic technological sanctions got lifted by 2004-2005, and it promised to give us membership in other export control regimes, such as MTCR, Wassenaar Arrangement, and the Australia Group. These are the 4 export control regimes. All right? They restrict the trade in sensitive technologies, which could potentially help in building WMDs. MTCR restricts missile and rocket technology. Any missile, any rocket, any unmanned aerial vehicle, which can travel more than 300 kilometers with a payload of more than 500 kilograms, is restricted. Only members of MTCR can trade these technologies. Do you wonder why BrahMos range was limited? Why the range of BrahMos was just 290 kilometers? Why not above 300? It's because of MTCR. Since India was not a member of MTCR, Russia couldn't help India build a missile that could travel more than 300 kilometers. MTCR restriction is on missile, rocket, and UAV technologies, where the range is under 300 and the payload is under 500 kilograms. If it crosses, it cannot be sold to other countries. Only members can trade. That is why we couldn't procure or build a longer range BrahMos cruise missile. That's why we couldn't procure cryogenic technology, even though Russia was ready to provide that. So India had to struggle in these key domains for several years, and we became a member of MTCR in 2016, finally. When India wasn't a member, we couldn't access these technologies that were readily available. All right? But in 2016, with American help, as promised under the nuclear agreement, US helped India along with many other countries to ensure India becomes a member. So India joined in 2016. Next, Wassenaar Arrangement. It restricts the export of dual-use goods. Dual-use technologies are restricted. Certain sensitive technologies not only have a civilian application, they have a military application as well. The same technology, in the wrong hands, can be used for building bombs and weapons. For example, semiconductor technology, battery technology, certain metals, how the metal is processed. Right? These are some very delicate, sensitive technologies. They have a civilian application in the industry. Same technology can be used in the military defense domain to build advanced weapons and WMDs. So these are dual-use technologies. They have a dual application. India couldn't procure them because we weren't a member, we were under technological sanctions, and hence our industry, our research and development was getting crippled. Civilian technologies couldn't be procured by India because they had a military dimension to it. Finally, we became a member in 2017-2018. India got the help of US and all the other countries, and we joined the group finally. Last is Australia Group, that restricts the trade of certain sensitive chemicals and biological elements. Certain sensitive chemicals and biological elements through which chemical and biological weapons can be built. They are restricted for members only, and India finally became a member in 2018. So in these couple of years, India has become a member of 3 important export control regimes. All right? We have joined MTCR, Wassenaar Arrangement, and Australia Group. But even today, we are not a member of NSG. I've already explained this in previous classes. Despite American support, despite all the members supporting India, Japan, Brazil, New Zealand, everyone is supporting India. 47 out of 48 countries are supporting India. But China has blocked India's entry. Of course, China does not want India to get the same recognition for its nuclear program. China wants Pakistan to be given the same treatment. On these grounds, it has blocked India's entry because at NSG, decision is taken by consensus. Decisions are made only by consensus. All countries have to agree. Even if one does not agree, proposal will not go through. So after years and years of effort, India still hasn't become a member of NSG despite all the support we have got. Right? US and all Western countries and all the other members, including all the major countries of NSG that supported India, but because of China, we have not been able to join nuclear supplies group. All right? So this is a core topic I wanted to cover as part of the India-US nuclear deal. So you might ask, what is in it for the US? What will US gain by signing this agreement, by giving India this exemption, by helping India in joining all these export control regimes? The help for US is that, their benefit is that they will get access to India's nuclear market. Their companies, as I told you, can sell nuclear reactors to India. Right? These will be long-term projects that brings massive profits to American companies. So that was the prime driving factor for the US. So under the agreement, to show that we are a responsible nuclear power, we had to open up our nuclear facilities, make it more transparent, and abide by IAEA guidelines. IAEA is an international organization, right? It was set up in the year 1957. International Atomic Energy Agency. It's in Vienna, Austria. It was set up through the UN itself, but it's not completely dependent on the UN. It's an autonomous organization within the UN. It reports to UN Security Council and UN General Assembly. All right? Its main focus is on nuclear safety, nuclear security. The main focus of IAEA is to ensure the safety of nuclear plants, security of nuclear material, and prevent proliferation, prevent the leakage of nuclear technology into wrong hands, promote only civilian application. That is the purpose of IAEA. All right? It's an autonomous organization within the UN, headquartered at Vienna, set up in 1957. India has been a member since 1957. We follow IAEA standards when it comes to nuclear safety and security. How nuclear material should be stored, how nuclear fuel has to be transported, how a nuclear plant has to be built, what protection measures have to be taken. All these standards are recommended for safety and security, and we have been following them since the beginning. It reports to UNSC and UNGA if any countries are leaking nuclear weapons technology to other countries. Its main goal is to enforce non-proliferation treaty, to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and nuclear technology, and ensure only civilian applications are promoted. So India has been working with IAEA only in the civilian domain, only as far as safety and security is concerned. But we weren't allowing IAEA inspections to happen in India. India's nuclear program was closed and shut off to the outside world, and IAEA inspections weren't allowed by India previously. because our military program was linked with the civilian program. All right. So IAEA has the powers to enforce these provisions, report to UNSC and UNGA to take action against countries that are violating the proliferation standards. So we never allowed IAEA inspections before this because our military and civilian program were interlinked. Finally, because of this agreement, since we were looking to expand our civilian nuclear energy market, we separated our military civilian program and allowed IAEA inspections for our civilian nuclear facilities. Military facilities are still not under IAEA inspection. That will never be under IAEA inspection. No country will do that. We have separated the military and the civilian facilities. Military facilities are not available to anyone, but our civilian plants and facilities are open to IAEA international inspection. This is how India has followed the global standards. We have even signed important agreements with IAEA, the Nuclear Safeguards Agreement. This is another important requirement to trade in the nuclear market. If other countries have to sell nuclear technology material, you have to sign these agreements, the Safeguards Agreement and the additional protocol to it. We have signed both. All right. The Manmohan Singh government signed the Nuclear Safeguards Agreement. All right. We signed it in 2008 itself. That's why US promised to help India to join NSG. Later in 2014, the Modi government signed the additional protocol to the IAEA Safeguards Agreement. It means we will abide by IAEA standards. We'll open up our civilian facilities to IAEA inspections. It's because of this promise, US promised to help India to get a membership of NSG. So I think now you can see why this agreement was very, very important. It defined the strategic relations between India and US. It brought global recognition to India's nuclear program. India was seen as a responsible nuclear power, unlike Pakistan. So this really transformed India's image at the global level. That is why it is seen as one of the biggest achievements of the then Manmohan Singh government. However, the Manmohan Singh government failed to operationalize it. Even today, US has no nuclear reactors in India. There are many challenges. There's a law called nuclear liability law. What happens when there's a nuclear accident or disaster? Whether the company is liable to pay compensation. So our liability law is not in line with international standards. It allows the victims of a disaster to sue the company, to sue the original suppliers, thus exposing foreign companies to unlimited liability in India. You can take them to court if you're not happy with the compensation. So since our liability law is not in line with international standards, no foreign company has come to India to invest in our nuclear reactors. Russia is different. Kudan reactor is different. That's a government-to-government deal between Russian government and Indian government. But no private company has come and set up the reactor because of the liability law. All right. So that's a failure of the Manmohan Singh government and the Modi government as well. They haven't taken it forward. But you can't ignore the fact that the efforts of these two governments gave India recognition at the global level. The signing of additional protocol by Modi government was critical. Right? It gave India the global recognition and transformed the image of India as far as our nuclear program was concerned. So that is why India-US relations are considered as the defining aspect of this century. Many experts believe this is the most important relationship of the 21st century because both India and US are very, very dependent on each other. There are many reasons why India is dependent on US. Similarly, US also depends on India for several reasons. For example, if you look at why India matters to the US, India has a strategic location in the Indian Ocean. Right? This not only gives access to plenty of resources, it puts India in the right position to counter China in the Indo-Pacific. That's what US wants. As US has entered into a cold war with China, its top global priority is to counter China, to contain Chinese influence. Remember, I explained about the pivot to Asia policy of US? How President Obama launched pivot to Asia policy in 2009, which shifted American focus towards the Indo-Pacific. Because their primary intention of US has been to counter China and contain Chinese influence in Indo-Pacific. So naturally, US sees India as a counterweight. Why? We are the world's largest functional democracy. US is one of the world's oldest democracy. We are open societies, quite liberal, modern open markets. Naturally, India-US can work together. Next, counterterrorism is a key area of cooperation, along with the massive economic opportunities in the market that India represents. So all these factors are driving US to rely on India, to depend on India. It leads US to look at India as a huge market for its companies, plus look at India for counter-terror and security collaboration, build military defense relations, strengthen India's armed forces by setting up India as a counterweight to China. That is why US got ready to sell advanced weapons to India. Right? Just a few years back, it was hostile to India. Now it was selling advanced weaponry to India because it was looking to modernize the Indian armed forces, allow the Indian armed forces to stand up to China and thus act as a counterweight against China. Right? That's the prime reason why US is interested in India. Similarly, US matters to India as well. There are several reasons why US is important to India. It acts as a stabilizing force across Asia. US has widespread diplomatic and military influence. It can stabilize the region. It can deal with security threats in the region. Be it Afghanistan, be it the Indian Ocean, be it piracy, right? Organized crime or terrorism. All these concerns and threats can be handled by American intelligence and security agencies. We already discussed the presence of the US in the Indian Ocean, the military presence. They have a naval base in Djibouti. They have a naval base near Maldives at Diego Garcia. Right? So US has a very big military presence in the Indo-Pacific. That is what India relies upon. It helps India. It helps India's interests because US can act as a stabilizing force dealing with all the security threats. Rising China and its aggression is of great concern to India, which we have studied in detail. The border dispute, its repeated aggression against India. This is where US can help India. India relies on the US for diplomatic support, also to modernize our armed forces to stand up against China. Next, the question of Afghanistan and counterterrorism. What will happen here with the Taliban? What Pakistan will do? What are Pakistan's plans with regard to terrorism? This remains a concern for both. For India, the concern is US still is a close friend of Pakistan. US-Pakistan have this complicated relationship. Even though Pakistan is the source of terrorism, US knows this very well. Still, it continues to fund Pakistan. It continues to provide advanced weapons to Pakistan. Recently, US has signed a deal to upgrade the F-16 fighter jets. India has taken offense to this. All right, but that is how US-Pakistan relations are. In some ways, US relies on Pakistan to counter terrorism as well, because Pakistan still controls many of the terror groups that threaten US. So it has a love-hate relationship with Pakistan, and this continues to create problems in India-US relations. But however, to counter terrorism, to deal with Afghanistan and Pakistan, India-US relations are important. Whether we like it or not, whether US likes it or not, it is a fact India-US have to work together. It's a big source of FDI into India. Usually, it's in the top 3 countries. It's one of the biggest sources of FDI. Also, it's one of the largest trading partners. Some years, US has been the biggest trading partner for India. Sometimes it's the second largest trading partner. Here, the trade equation is quite unique. We have a trade surplus with the US. India has a lot of exports headed to US. We export a lot of agricultural commodities, a lot of manufactured goods, and most importantly, services, especially IT, software. Right? Our exports to US is much, much higher than the imports. So we have a trade surplus against the US. US has a trade deficit against India. All right, so it's a very beneficial relationship for India. It has boosted our exports and directly contributed to job creation in the Indian market. Plus, US is a source of advanced technology. It's a massive market for our traders and exporters, and it backs India's international aspirations. It supports India's entry into UN Security Council. At least US has given verbal support Verbally, US has repeatedly said that India deserves to be a permanent member of UNSC. It's ready to support the reforms of UN. Even if they haven't done anything concrete, at least verbal support has been given. And even other platforms like export control regimes, US has helped India in fulfilling its international aspirations. Honestly, without American help, we couldn't have joined Australia Group or Wassenaar Arrangement or MTCR. It's only because of US help we've been able to enter these export control regimes. So naturally, India and US are close to each other. They depend on each other. That's why many experts say that this will be the defining relationship of the 21st century. Today, the central piece of this relationship is the defense operation, and the US expects its close defense partners, be it India, be it NATO allies, US expects them to sign 4 foundational agreements if US has to share all the technology with the other side. All right? See, US has a requirement. If US has to supply advanced defense technology, if it has to collaborate in the defense domain and complete integration of armed forces, if it has to be provided, US has a basic condition. The condition of US is that these partners, defense partners, they have to sign 4 basic agreements or 4 foundational agreements. Only if they sign these agreements, US will sell all the technology, advanced technology to the other country. NATO allies have already signed them. For example, UK, France, Germany, Turkey, even non-NATO allies of US like Brazil, they've all signed the 4 foundational agreements, which make them eligible to get access to the latest American defense platforms. So India, as it was becoming a major importer of American arms, US entered the top 3 list of India. After Russia and Israel, US became the top 3 supplier, the 3rd biggest supplier of weapons to India. US was eager to sell advanced weapons and platforms to India, as it mainly saw India as a counter to China. But the only condition to continue this advanced trade relationship, the defense trade relationship, was that India should sign 4 basic agreements. Initially, there was some hesitance because of the mistrust of the past. Because when you sign these agreements, it will bring our armed forces very close to the American armed forces. It actually provides for some integration, sharing of information, exchange of data will be there. So there was a fear of compromising on our sovereignty, compromising on our national security. So there was some hesitation, but now we have gone ahead and signed all the 4 agreements. The first agreement was General Security of Military Information Agreement. It provides for exchange of military information, military intelligence. It commits both countries to exchange military level information. All right, between the armed forces, there will be a regular exchange of military information under this agreement. It was signed by the Vajpayee government in 2002. It was the first agreement we signed. Second, LEMOA was signed in 2016 under the Modi government. It was seen as a very big achievement by the Modi government. Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement. Under this, you promise to exchange logistics. You basically give access to your military bases. Indian Navy can access American naval bases to refuel, to take resupplies. That will extend the range of our operations. American Air Force can use Indian Air Force base to get a repair done, to get refueling done, to extend their operational range. So LEMOA is Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement. We signed this in 2016 with the US. We've actually signed a similar agreement with many other countries. We have signed it with Japan, with Australia and France. We have similar logistics agreement with these countries also. We are negotiating a similar one with Russia. Even with Russia, we are considering a logistics exchange agreement. Next, Communications Interoperability and Security Memorandum of Agreement, or CISMOA, or the Indian version of agreement was called COMCASA, Communications Compatibility Security Agreement. They both are the same. CISMOA is the general name of it. The agreement India signed eventually in 2018 is called COMCASA. They both are same agreements, known by different names. Indian version of CISMOA is COMCASA. All right, this agreement we signed in 2018, the Indian version of the agreement is called COMCASA. When you sign this agreement, US will sell encrypted communication technology on its military platforms. See, for example, we have procured so many aircraft and helicopters from the US. We have the Chinook and Apache helicopters. We have the C-17 and C-130J transport aircrafts. We have the P-8 type Poseidon. All these are advanced defense platforms we have procured for the Air Force, the Navy, and the Army. When you don't sign COMCASA or CISMOA, these aircrafts will not be given encrypted communication technology, which is an advanced communication tool used only by American forces and its NATO allies. It gives you a lot of security against enemy interception. It allows the forces to work together. Let's say US and UK are operating together, and American Chinooks and British Chinooks are operating in the same environment. Then American Chinooks and British helicopters can communicate with each other because they have the same communication equipment. US would have sold it to UK because UK would have signed this agreement, the COMCASA agreement. So since India hadn't signed it, these aircrafts and helicopters we had procured, they did not have these advanced communication tools. Finally, we signed it, and now they will be fitted with the encrypted communication technology, which will allow Indian and US forces to work together and run a joint operation if required. To this, let's say there's an Indian P-8 Poseidon aircraft in the Indian Ocean hunting down a submarine, a Chinese submarine. The Indian aircraft can communicate with the US naval ship or with a US submarine, and together they can coordinate their operation. This coordination will be possible only if you sign this agreement. Only then US will sell this advanced communication technology on the aircraft and helicopters it is selling to other countries. So we signed it in 2018. The last agreement, which was signed recently in 2020, is BECA, Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement for Geospatial Cooperation. It provides for exchange of geospatial intelligence. Essentially, intelligence generated through your space assets, through satellites. The maps, the positional information, the satellite imageries, all the space-based intelligence generated through your satellites, through geospatial technology, will be exchanged between the two sides. So we have signed all the 4. This is another achievement of the Modi government. The last 3 were signed under the Modi government in the last 5 to 6 years. So this brings India, US very, very close in the defense domain. And in fact, we even have a defense technology trade initiative launched in 2015 to promote defense imports to India, to promote the procurement of American weapons for Indian armed forces, to modernize the Indian armed forces. US has even given us the recognition of a major defense partner in 2016. This tag is very important. US will sell advanced weaponry only to those countries which have the major defense partner status. It's a tag given by the US government to its partner countries. So US has recognized India as a major defense partner. Before, it was recognition given only to close American allies like UK, Japan, Australia, etc. The same status has been given for India with regard to defense trade. This allows for joint production, joint development. It also allows for transfer of technology. Previously, US was simply selling weapons to India. It was just a buyer-seller relationship, which was one-sided. We simply had to pay and purchase the defense equipment. Now, since we have become a major defense partner, it allows for transfer of technology that will boost our domestic indigenous industry. Right? We'll not just buy the technology, it will provide for transfer of the technology so that we can indigenously produce them. It creates opportunities for joint production, joint development. So this is an important status US has given to India, and we have further cemented the security relationship by setting up the 2+2 dialogue in 2018. Right? I explained what is 2+2 dialogue under Japan. It's a format of diplomatic negotiations where foreign minister and defense minister of both countries meet together. So India's foreign and defense ministers, they meet the US Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense, and all the four leaders will discuss the foreign policy security issues together. We have the same arrangement with Japan and Australia. All Quad countries have it. So even the Quad 2+2 meeting takes place. So that is the closeness we have in our relations today, and we have a host of military exercises, and we have procured a number of military equipment, and I've listed all of them here. This slide here is very, very important for your prelims. Please go through this, make a note, and remember the names. We have bilateral exercises such as COP India, Yudh Abhyas, and Vajra Prahar. All right, I've listed these exercises take place between which forces? Like COP India is between the air force of two countries. Yudh Abhyas is between the two armies. Vajra Prahar is between the special forces of India and US. We also take part in multilateral exercises like Malabar naval exercise, which we have studied. Similarly, US has two exercises, Red Flag and RIMPAC. Red Flag is an air force exercise where multiple countries are hosted by the US. RIMPAC is a naval exercise hosted by the US Navy. So Indian forces participate in these multilateral exercises as well. We have purchased advanced weaponry and defense platforms like C-17 Globemaster. I'm sure you would have seen this in every evacuation mission of India. Whenever we give assistance to another country, it is this massive aircraft which is deployed. It's a very huge aircraft with advanced features. It can land in short runways, take off very quickly. It's very useful to deploy troops and equipment. It's so massive it can even carry a jeep or a helicopter or a battle tank inside it. It is that big. So when India evacuates its citizens from conflict zones, or when we send assistance to other countries, it's always the C-17 Globemaster which is deployed, one of the world's largest transport aircrafts. C-130J Super Hercules by Lockheed Martin. It's used for tactical operations, mainly to deploy special forces behind enemy lines. It's a smaller transport aircraft that can deploy troops to the front lines, sometimes even behind enemy lines. P-8I Poseidon from Boeing, critical for maritime reconnaissance, and it's called as a submarine hunter. It is known for its anti-submarine warfare capabilities. It has been sold to the Indian Navy to primarily keep a check on China's naval deployment. US has sold P-8I Poseidon. We have placed a fresh order. It's a critical resource for the Indian Navy to monitor the Chinese submarines in the Indian Ocean and beyond. It's a submarine hunter. It's very, very effective in tracking submarines and launching torpedoes and missiles against submarines. We have procured the Harpoon missiles, Apache and Chinook helicopters. Apache is an attack helicopter, a ground attack helicopter. It's procured for the Indian Army and Indian Air Force. Chinook is a transport helicopter. You would have seen Chinooks. It has a double rotor. It's quite unique in its design. We've also procured artillery guns, the M777 howitzers, which is produced in the US. The M777, which is an artillery gun, it's actually of British origin, but the company which produces it is in the US. It's a US weapon platform. And recently, we have signed a contract for the MH-60 Romeo helicopters, or the Seahawk, which again has anti-submarine warfare capabilities. These helicopters can be used for surveillance, maritime surveillance, and also to target submarines. We have leased the Reaper drones. A couple of the Reaper drones have been leased by India. We are looking to procure them as well in the future. These are armed drones. Initially, it is for surveillance, but going forward, we are looking to procure armed drones from the US to launch precision strikes. Right? US has many advanced drones like Reaper, Predator. So Indian Navy has leased a couple of drones for training purposes. But if everything goes ahead, we might procure the armed version of the drone as well. So in such advanced critical technologies, US is helping India. This is what makes US such a key partner for India. All right. But however, we do have our differences. There are issues where we don't have the same opinion. There are areas where we are in conflict, where we have a dispute with each other as well. So that is the uniqueness about this relationship. Even though we have many areas of collaboration where we work very closely with each other, still there are some areas where we have issues, disputes, and conflicts. For example, India is not very comfortable in directly countering China. Yes, we want American help to improve our military preparedness. We want America's diplomatic support to force China to follow international rules. We want American help to counter terrorism, to deal with Pakistan, correct? But we are not ready to become a military ally of the US. That's why India made it clear, Quad cannot become the Asian NATO. Initially, Japan and US were looking to make Quad a military grouping. India said no. India is never part of any military clubs. We are not any military allies of any country. We are not comfortable in joining such military alliances because this creates complications for India-China relations. If we were to join such an alliance countering China directly, China will retaliate against India. Right? China is a vastly superior power. We know India will be punished. India will be set back by China. So India doesn't want this confrontation. We are not getting into a direct conflict here. We just want to manage China, keep China under check. For that, diplomatic support is enough. Weapon support is enough. We don't want to join military clubs and any further engagement. So we have problems with America's pivot to Asia policy. US is pushing India like a counter to China. We don't want to be America's proxy. We have our own interest to protect. See, China is our neighbor at the end of the day. We can't afford a hostile neighbor. China does not share boundaries with US, not with Australia. It does not have land borders with Japan. It has a disputed land border with India. If China retaliates, it will be against India. India will take the hit. That is why India has a problem here. We don't want extreme close military alliances with these countries. We have our own relations with China to protect. So that is a problematic area. Then remember Afghanistan? I told you when US negotiated a deal with Taliban, it did not even consult India. It didn't even keep India in the loop. India was kept out of US-Taliban negotiations, even though India had a lot to lose. Even though our interest would be affected if Taliban comes back to power, US never consulted India. This again shows that US is unreliable when it comes to its own interests. It will prioritize its own interests even at the cost of hurting India. So we are not very happy in the way in which US deals with Pakistan. It doesn't put the pressure we want on Pakistan to counter terrorism. It still keeps funding Pakistan, gives weapon support to Pakistan, and we are not okay with this. This is a problematic area. This is an area of difference between India and US. The other issue is Iran sanctions, which we just discussed today. US is targeting Iran for its own geopolitics, but these American sanctions have affected India. As India has zeroed out oil imports, Iran has reduced its relations with India. So their conflict, the American policy towards Iran, is hurting Indian interests. So this is an issue, something that affects India. And we have multiple trade issues at WTO and in our bilateral trade relationship. We have fought trade wars when Donald Trump was the president. Donald Trump blamed India for unfair trade practices. He said India has a trade surplus because India is following unfair trade practices. He increased the taxes on Indian exports deliberately to prevent Indian exports into the US. India also retaliated, resulting in trade wars. So the taxes and other trade-related issues are a frequent source of conflict, including IP laws. Our domestic laws, policies, and regulations are opposed by the US. This is a result of the differences between developed and developing economies. Remember, we spoke about the same issue under FTAs, free trade agreements. Developed nations want strict IP laws. India can't do that. We are a developing country. Developed countries want an end to agricultural subsidies, fishery subsidies. We can't do that. Government subsidies are critical for our farmers and the fishing community. They expect very strict laws with regard to labor standards, environmental standards. India can't do that because we are a developing nation, we have different economic interests. So we have many issues going on at WTO. We fight cases against each other. Right? India, US fight legal battles at WTO. Trade disputes are there. In the bilateral trade relationship also, we have plenty of issues. The main issue is with regard to the tariffs. All right. Right now, the US market is very good for India, very attractive. We have a lot of exports, that's why we have a trade surplus. But we want some of these issues to be resolved. See, in our data protection law, which we have proposed, we want data localization to be mandated, which means all the tech companies should have data centers in India. All the big companies, be it Meta, be it Google, everyone, they will be forced by our data laws to set up local data centers in India. But these companies are against it. They don't want to make that investment. So the US government is supporting them against data localization. They're putting pressure on India to not include data localization in the data protection law. Similarly, regarding regulating e-commerce, Amazon is a giant, right? It has complete backing of the US government, and Indian laws are resisted by Amazon, and US government lobbies on behalf of Amazon. US is putting pressure on India with regard to e-commerce regulations. So these are some trade issues that we have, which are not yet resolved. Then we have the CAATSA law, which we already studied. This has affected our ties with Iran, with Russia, right? Our oil trade with Russia, oil trade with Iran, and the procurement of S-400 missiles from Russia was threatened by CAATSA. All right. But as of now, US has given India an exemption. It's only with Iran's oil trade that we have followed the American sanctions. But when we bypassed sanctions against Russia and procured oil and S-400 missiles, US only raised the concern, but it didn't impose the sanctions on India. Secondary sanctions weren't brought against India. So in that regard, it shows that US is a little understanding of India's concerns, at least when it comes to India-Russia relations. Right? It did object to the S-400 deal. S-400 is a air defense missile, it's an advanced air defense missile from Russia. We procured it, and US initially threatened it with sanctions, but later it didn't impose them because S-400 is crucial for India for air defense against China. So that shows that US understands India's requirements, India's concerns, but we still have some issues with CAATSA because it's affecting our oil imports from Iran. We have cut off oil trade with Iran. That's where the Russian invasion of Ukraine comes into question. This is another dispute. India, US obviously have different positions here. The US is completely hostile to Russia, targeting Russia, supporting Ukraine, voting against Russia at UN. It expects India to do the same, but we can never do that. Russia has always been a great friend of India. You'll study in the next chapter, in the next class, we'll look at how close Russia has been to India. There is no way India can abandon Russia. That's why we have taken a neutral stand in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. We have never voted against Russia at the UN. We have abstained from all the votes. We have bypassed the Western sanctions, continued our oil trade. We finished the S-400 deal procurement as well. That shows that India will continue its independent policy with Russia, so US is not happy with this. Similar issues exist with regard to climate change and the reforms of global institutions. With regard to climate change negotiations, India, US often have different positions. With regard to implementing the Paris Agreement, achieving the climate action goals, developed countries have a different objective, developing nations have a different objective. Right? You'll study more about that in Environment and Ecology under Climate Change Convention. The positions of India, US have always been opposite. That's a concern. Similarly, reforming the multilateral institutions, reforming UN, reforming World Bank and IMF. These are Western-dominated institutions. Countries like India are never given an equal opportunity and equal voting rights. Today, we are contributing to World Bank and IMF. Our voting share should have gone up. But World Bank and IMF are controlled by US and European countries. At UN, P5 countries are holding the veto and preventing other legitimate countries from having a say at the UN. That's why UN is outdated and ineffective. So we are pushing for reforms of these institutions, but US does not have the same approach. It has only given a verbal support to reform the UN and allow India to become a permanent member, but on the ground, US hasn't done anything. Because obviously these countries, they don't want to give up their dominance. They don't want to share their powers over these key institutions. And this remains a issue between India, US, and affects their relations as well. I'm pointing out these issues because there can be a main question on this topic. UPSC might ask a separate question on the issues in India-US relations. What issues are affecting this relationship? You can also expect a question on the defense relations and the equation between US, India, and China. How India-US can counter China. So that topic could be a question. Or the defense relations. Or the issues between the India-US relations. These are the topics that you need to prepare for. You need to anticipate. All right. Now going forward, there will be a lot of developments in current affairs. In current affairs, there will be many more important developments. All right. So please pick up all those current developments. Attend our weekly webinars. It should be more than enough. We'll ensure all the current developments will be covered there. So until now, if you understood the current state of India-US relations, what the priorities are, what the areas of cooperation are, what are the key issues, it is more than sufficient. All right. In the next chapter, I will continue with Russia-Ukraine war. So there we'll get a more deeper insight into this topic. We'll discuss India-Russia relations, and of course, we'll talk about the Russia-Ukraine war. So that is something we'll keep it for the next class. All right. So I think today, let's end the session for now. So we'll have one more session. You will be informed about it. We'll let you know. We'll need a couple of hours for India, Russia, United Nations, and European Union. As part of the groupings and organizations we are studying, I would like to cover UN and European Union as well as part of the static discussion, and we'll discuss India, Russia in detail. All right. So we will have one more class. Don't worry. We'll inform you when the class will be. But now, let's see what questions, what doubts you have regarding all these topics.